Hey, welcome to EPN. My name is Victor Lucas, and we bring you the latest in everything cool every single day. Boy, have we got a fun EP live for you today. We are diving in to Fallout 76, and I can't wait to do that with you. This rundown is going out to Tyler Fisher, who says Vic has loved games since Nintendo released their first game in 1889. I have always loved video games. And we've also got a brand new member, Bo. Great to see you. Thank you for your support. And rest in peace, SpongeBob SquarePants creator Steven Hillenburg, who died at age 57 from ALS, which is terribly tragic. And boy, what a legacy he has left. Everybody knows SpongeBob SquarePants. And just an amazing person to bring that into the world. He will be missed, and our condolences to all of Steven's friends and families. But let's get started with some good news with the rundown. The Battle Royale phenomenon Fortnite has just hit another impressive milestone. Epic Games has announced that Fortnite now has more than 200 million registered players. That's up 60% from the 125 million they had the last time they announced numbers in June, and 5 times as many as they had back in January of this year. This spike in players is likely the result of the game being released on new platforms like the Nintendo Switch and mobile devices. Epic hasn't revealed just how many of their 200 million registered players are actually active in the game, although back in August they said they had just under 80 million active players. No matter how you look at it, this just goes to show how big Fortnite has become, and with new updates planned well into the future, Epic hasn't shown any signs of slowing down. Yeah, this is a deserved success, I think. Fortnite is a phenomenal game. It's super fun, and you can play in a bunch of different directions. You know, you can just make it a shooter, you can make it a crafter, you can blend the two, and all of the customization options in there just make all the characters and all their dance moves, and it's just it's such a treat to dive into Fortnite. Yes, it's not as tactical and sort of authentic feeling as maybe something like PUBG or Call of Duty or whatever, some of these sort of more military-themed shooters out there. It's an irrefutable attraction for people, though. When people see that and they see the fun that people are playing Fortnite, and it's usually, probably starting from younger players who are introducing it to their parents or their older siblings or whatever, or vice versa. I think it's just one of these addictive kind of auras, like you see people playing it, have a big smile on their face, and you get sucked in too. It's hard to refute it, as much as I'm not a huge fan of the idea of free-to-play and sort of looping you in and, persistent games that don't have endings and you're just sort of caught in that world forever and there's all these loops to keep you there. Fortnite is just solid. It's a great game, and my hat's off to everybody involved on developing this at Epic because, they're good people, and they built something really fun, and I'm just really happy for them. All right, another Lego movie is on the way to theaters, and you know what that means? Another Lego game is being assembled. Warner Brothers and TT Games have announced the Lego Movie 2 video game, a new game based on the upcoming film, The Lego Movie 2, the second part. Like the film, it will see the familiar heroes Emmett, Lucy, Batman, and others struggle to save the Lego world from alien invaders, and players can expect to recreate loads of different Lego toy sets. The game will land on the Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and PC next year around the same time as the film hits theaters in February. When I read the synopsis for Lego Movie 2, that's what was so genius about the first movie, it just felt like it was a pitch from kids. And they just sort of assembled all of the characters that they had on the table, and they built a story out of that, and they got the green light. And it was so funny and so charming and way better than people sort of expected it to be. Sure, there's crash commercialism in there, and it is definitely a commercial for getting into the Lego universe, 100%. And there's like so much meta in the fact that this video game is based on it's just like, it's crazy. It's like a licensing heaven. But the first Lego movie was great. The first Lego movie video game was a lot of fun. And my fingers are crossed that this becomes a nice 2019 present to me as a movie watcher and as a game player and as a big fan of the Lego video games. I do have to wonder, and I definitely have concerns as, how much gas TT Games has in the tank to, come out with these titles as often as they do. But more often than not, they hit nice triples, if not home runs, with their games. Like they're pretty damn solid with the way that they sort of reconceive a lot of their core design principles with the way that they build these things. Yes, there's familiarity. Yes, there are routines that we've seen over and over again, but usually they make you smile in some pretty significant ways. The makers of World of Tanks, World of Warships, and World of Warplanes might be taking players to outer space. European publishing giant Wargaming has bought UK-based game developer EdgeCase Games, creator of the online PvP game Fractured Space. The staff at EdgeCase Games will join the team at Wargaming's existing studio in Guildford, which they just opened earlier this year with the goal of creating a new MMO project. This doesn't just give Wargaming ownership of Fractured Space. The fact that they've bought the makers of an outer space game indicates that the new project could take place in outer space as well, although we'll have to wait and see. They've conquered land, sea, and air, so where do they go from here, right? It makes sense that they want to have they can't call it world, I guess the galaxy of spaceships or something. I don't know. What are they going to call it? But that seems cool. I keep waiting for a very accessible, massively multiplayer, easy to jump into, across many different screens, space shooter type of experience. And I want it to be X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, and I don't know what the hell is happening with Lucasfilm and Disney and whoever could help build that thing, but that's just like, here is a ton of money to be made, and they're not making it. I don't understand. Why don't they have an X-Wing versus TIE Fighter experience out there? But it sounds like the world of fighting experience, the wargaming people are sort of looking at that as an opportunity. All right, now speaking of outer space, new discoveries about Earth's closest neighbor are in sight. NASA has successfully landed their new robotic lander InSight on the surface of Mars. The craft launched from Earth earlier this year, and when it touched down on Mars, it used a complicated and risky rocket-powered descent method similar to the Curiosity rover back in 2012. Unlike Curiosity, however, InSight is a stationary lander designed to stay in one spot and drill into the Martian surface, taking readings that will measure the planet's seismic activity, something that we need to know if we ever want to send humans there. InSight is expected to stay in service for at least 2 years, and you know what, man? I saw all of the Jet Propulsion Lab celebrations. Actually, I was playing something, and I had my phone on Facebook Live just right at the time that the rover touched down, so I watched it all live, and to see the elation in the JPL faces was just, it was fantastic. It just made you feel that joy, that sense of accomplishment. And that's one of the major things about space exploration. Not only do we need to kind of understand more of the galaxy for our future needs, especially as we deplete resources on Earth and, look to the stars for answers for how to sustain ourselves or potentially, find new homes for humanity or new ways to, extract precious minerals that will lead to technologies that we haven't even dreamed of yet. There's a million reasons, but one of the major reasons why space exploration is so important and why we need to keep investing in it and supporting it and believing in it is that human dream, that ability to look skyward and that ability to kind of have goals and set these crazy kinds of Don Quixote-like expectations for ourselves, what humans are capable of. And you can see it in the faces of these scientists and engineers that it's incredibly important for us to keep investing in that direction. Amazing. And we will always need stories like that, and this is another one. Mars is very far away, so congrats NASA, congrats JPL. All right, Bungie is shaking up how they're adding new content to Destiny 2. The new expansion Black Armory goes live today, and it is the first of several smaller updates that Bungie plans to release between now and summer 2019 as part of the game's new annual pass. This part gets a little confusing. Rather than release bigger expansions like they've been doing up to this point, Bungie plans to release smaller updates like Black Armory on a more regular basis, and players will be able to get all of it by purchasing the new annual pass. It costs $47 in Canada on its own and is also included as part of the Legendary Edition for the recent Forsaken version of the game, which was released in September. Keep in mind that just buying the annual pass on its own will not give you access to the existing post-launch content. The Destiny story is a confusing one. It's a hard one for me, as someone that reports on this industry, to convey. And I don't know what has happened here, but, you know, the idea of this persistent universe that Destiny is going to bring people in and they're going to stay and play forever and ever. There's been so many tiered ways that they have sold pieces of this content to people. I can't keep up with it. I don't even know. Like, I get the expansions and I play through some of them and I have a good time with it, but it feels to me like Activision and Bungie are trying to, like, just keep people in Destiny, but they don't know how to monetize it. And honestly, I don't know how you feel about this, but I am really getting sick and tired of trying to figure out the economies and the way the monetization works in every single game that comes out these days. It's just not a healthy way to present your, you know, package to a consumer out there. You know, certainly if you've got nothing but time and all you do is love Bungie shooters and this is the holy grail, like, oh my God, I get to stay in here forever, that's great. But I just wish that Bungie and everybody else that's sort of trying to figure out how to, you know, work the best monetization scheme would make it simpler and easier and more fair for the consumer as well. Like, it feels like every time there's an announcement from Bungie or Activision about Destiny stuff, it makes some people happy and some people miserable, and some people get really angry. And there's got to be a better way. You know, there really does. I can't tell you if this is a fair deal or not. I don't know. It's confusing as hell. Anyways, that's going to do it for our rundown. If you enjoyed the content, please do us a favor and share the clipped out segment, because we always clip this out of our EP Live pieces as a separate news chunk called the Rundown. Please share it with the hashtag #PlayForever. And thank you very much for watching that. Right now, we are going to turn our attention to this day in everything cool.